Okay, so this is Justin for Sprint 4 of Engines2. So the first thing was the test collision pair optimization stuff. Within the execute function, first what's going to happen is the collision group AABBs are going to get updated. So go to that. So this first for loop here is running through the first collection, setting the maximum and minimum x, y, and z values for each for the two corners of the AABB, so it's able to create that. Same thing here for the second collection. So that's this part right here. So this is called once per frame. Secondly, it's now got the two AABBs, and now it can go through the collision optimization tests. So I've broken these up into the 4 tests that were shown in the slides. This first one, I just kind of had a weird a bug where I couldn't use my actual collision test function right here, even though it's exactly the same as this. So I'll show that in just a second, and maybe you can just spot the error in it, but it works functionally fine, so it's just here and looks funky for right now. But anyway, so this is the first test for the tossing out the gigantic AABB collision volumes to start, and then the second test here is between the AABBs and the B-sphere, and if those are not colliding, then it tosses it out right here with this return statement. Then next up was the third test, which is testing the B-sphere testing the B-spheres of the object and all the other objects inside of the opposing collision group. So that's here. And then the last test was the pairwise with the 2 groups. So I'll just go to that and show that real fast. This is what we had before, essentially. So it's probably better if I show it. So it's going to be a little bit busy visually right here, and then I'll explain a little bit better what's happening. So this cube right here around the tank is a single tank object in the scene, and then I've got one across all of the cottages over there, and you can also see it's being updated properly with the little enemy AI things right here. I'll just demo real quick that there's sound working for these now. Cool. So there's that. So now the tests. So the first test, it's failing, and then at this point right there, now the second test is being called. Let me get to a point right here. So the second test is being called but not passed. So the B-sphere on the tank is black. Then once the B-sphere, let's make sure that you can see that that's what's happening here, right there. Then as the B-sphere touches the AABB, now it's going into the third test. Then fourth test right there, if you can see this B-sphere right here, the one that's closest, is changing color slightly now that the B-sphere is touching. The 2 B-spheres are touching, but the OOBB right here is not colliding with this OOBB right here. So you can see that test is working, and then finally, if the 2 boxes collide, it's kind of hard to see, but right here they switch from blue to red. So that's the final test is getting passed there. So all of that is good with the and as you can see, as you X out of it or back up, all of the things change color. So it's not getting those later tests. So that should be working properly. So that's that for the collision stuff. The rest is things with audio that I've been working with. So I've now got an audio manager class that I'll look at real fast. I have a load audio clip that's working now. a get that's working now. Those are the ones that are working, and the terminate's working right now. So what I've done is kind of set this up like our other managers with the hash table, which is able to be have nodes loaded into it, which just contain a audio source for right now. So yeah, so let me show this real fast. So in my load resources, I'm able to call the audio manager, load an audio clip, give it a nickname or just name for the file, and then its actual location within the audio folder, which is now in my assets folder. So all of this is good. I can load multiple audio clips. And then if I go to my frigate, I've set up a nice little play sound once function, and then you call the same name that was used right here in my load function, and then it will call, as you heard earlier, that it works. So that's all good. So let me make sure that's good. So that should be everything for sound. Lastly was just the to-do list for sound. My final document for what I want to have. So I'll try and go through this as quick as I can. But the final plans were for the first, I want to have the audio manager with the initialize function, a hash table, like I said. I need to have an open channel finder because channels, you can only have one sound in one channel at one time through Fmod, so just having a thing that will find open channels for that. I want to have both a stable and unstable channel because if all the channels fill up, something needs to get kicked off, but I don't want to kick off background music or ambience or things like that, so I need to put those in a stable channel rather than an unstable channel. I need to be able to unload all of the sound clips, unload all of the sound channels, allow obviously different sounds at once, have it set up as a singleton, which it is so far, so that's good. Secondly, I need to have audio sources, which can be defined as both 3D or 2D. 3D ones need to have a location in space, change that location, change the volume, ability to stop it halfway through, and then also make sure that it's loaded in RAM. 2D needs to have, it can be used as background music, ambience, stuff like that. There's no need for a location in this one. Obviously needs to be able to change the volume, and this is streamed from the hard disk. So that's that for audio sources. Audio listeners are the things that are able to hear the sound, obviously. They need to have a point in space by which to receive the audio. They need to have the ability to roll off the further the audio is away from the audio listener. Multiple audio listeners. And then it needs to play nice with the audio manager and make sure that it's all set up correctly with that, and probably have a audio listener container of some sort. Lastly, after all of these other things are done and working properly, as a stretch goal, I could have reverb zones, which would basically probably work with the collision system that we have now, which would create reverb effects if the player was in those zones. And it would be controlled by a float, most likely, to control that reverb. Lastly was the game document, what I need to have for the final vision of the game or whatever, to test and show off the game. So for the game design document, essentially, for the player tank, obviously control it with WASD, space to fire the cannon. I need to make sure that the tank has a limited ammo, maximum of 10, which would be shown with sprites on the side of the screen to show off the sprite system. And then the WASD and space would be used to show off the keyboard input and all of that stuff. The tank would also just have health like it is now, but just with prettier sprites. When the player's hit, the damage sound would play. And if the player hits 0, they restart, and it plays another different sound. Enemies, I need to create a simple AI for them to just go back and forth on a preset path. Maybe not necessarily back and forth, but on a like a path going in a certain just in a certain way. And then when they fire, play a 3D sound, so that way it's able to showcase the 3D sound a little bit. I also want to have ammo pickups that will replenish the player's ammunition, plays a sound obviously. Health pickup replenishes your health. And then buildings to kind of direct the player into little corridors, so to say, so it's not just this gigantic open space. And that should also help the enemy AI a little bit, so they can just fire straight ahead down these little corridors, and creates a little bit more tension, I guess, for the player. Let's see. Also they would stop the bullets, so that's just a gameplay thing. But also just have a basic background 2D music to showcase the 2D functionality. And all of these things combined should also showcase the things that are already in the engine, I feel. So that should be good. I think that's everything. Thanks for watching.